Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit, and we're going to talk some coaching carousels. And Maddie, my head's so spinning right now. I almost said, "Welcome to Yankee and the Brit." He's Jay. I'm Maddie. That's what I almost said.
It's from that run to the shop. That quick gallop to the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. There's been some coaching moves. There always is some coaching moves at this time of year.
Yeah, definitely. And I will tell you, grocery shopping on a Saturday is the worst idea, but I had to get it done or I wasn't getting food in this house till Monday.
It's football weekend, man. It's football Sunday tomorrow.
So I was going to bring this up quick just before we get into the whole coaching carousel. And this is coaching too. So rumors coming out of Minnesota. I want to touch on them. There's three. One, if Brian Flores doesn't get a head coaching job, the rumor is he will be the Vikings' next defensive coordinator. Don't know how true that is. Rumor. Rumor number two, which has been proven, but nothing. It's just this at this point. Vikings reach out to the Rams to see about acquiring Jalen Ramsey. And Tom Brady and the Vikings both have interest in each other.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that last one. I haven't heard anything about it.
Oh, I just read a whole article about it that they have interest in each other, but the Vikings would have to find a trade partner for Cousins.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they have to. I feel like Cousins would have a market. There's got to be a market for Kirk Cousins, right? It's right, the contract.
And if you're not going to extend him, then you're just playing him one more year and you're going to try to find his replacement anyway. If Brady says to you, I want 2 years and I'll give you the team deal I give everybody so we don't kill your salary cap, you can draft a young guy. And I'm sure at that point, Brady knows he's only got a couple years left. He'd embrace that young guy.
Yeah, and I think a great place for, if this is something that could be worked out, you definitely need to find a trade partner for Kirk Cousins. You may be looking at the guys that are taking on some young quarterbacks this year. You're looking at, or maybe a team like the Commanders who are a bit low in the draft order to get one of those top guys. So Sam Howell can continue to sit behind someone like Kirk Cousins and learn from who is an excellent pro, Kirk Cousins. You can say what you want about him. Guys like Kirk Cousins, guys like Dak Prescott, they excellent professionals, and it's an interesting idea. So you're looking at teams that are going to go in for young quarterbacks. You're looking at teams like, I don't know, like Carolina. Yeah, I think both went to the same thing. Carolina, because if you're drafting Brit Young, number 1 overall, he's going to be playing, right? But the other guys like Will Levis, like those kind of guys, maybe sat behind Kirk Cousins is not the worst thing for them.
Yeah, and there's going to be some quarterback needy teams. It'll be a whole quarterback carousel because, like we've talked about in previous videos, you're going to have Jimmy G, you're going to have Baker Mayfield, you're going to have different guys on the market. So what do you want to do? And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Jared Goff a free agent? They have to get something done with him? Or is just all of his guaranteed money done?
Yeah, Jared Goff's a free agent. No, I'm pretty sure Jared Goff is going into free agency. He only had 1 year left on his deal when he left the Rams. They offloaded that 1 year of the guaranteed money. You're not going to trade with I doubt the Vikings will let Kirk Cousins go to the Lions unless
I didn't mean trade. I meant the whole quarterback carousel. Jared Goff's another guy in the mix that they'll have to see what teams want to do.
Jackson's still there. Lamar Jackson's still there. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, all still in play, which is exciting. And I love the idea of Brian Flores. I love the idea of Brian Flores to become the Vikings defensive coordinator. God knows you could use the help just to set up a solid defense. It's not like you don't have the players. That's what's crazy. People are saying like, the Vikings have the worst defensive players, and people are blaming Kirk Cousins' contract for the Vikings defense. And it's like, well, I think a lot of that was coaching last year because the holes were in the same place all year. And it wasn't players; it was just over the middle.
Well, and Eric Kendricks isn't as fast as he used to be, and neither is Jordan Hicks. So Asamoah at the end of the year, he's going to end up getting one of those starting jobs because he was blowing shit up at the linebacker position. So I actually think Kendricks and Hicks are both gone. I think that they cut them both. They bring in another young guy to get speed at the linebackers. And then the thing is, do you stay at the 3-4 or go back to the 4-3? If you're going to, you just can't have Danielle Hunter or Z in coverage. So I don't know what you're going to do if you keep Z. I think he's probably gone too, though, because he had 10 sacks in the first 7 games and then nothing the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really weird how he just he fell off a cliff like really, really quickly. That it's definitely lacking pace. The Vikings
Goff is
offense. And I think
Goff is under contract for 2 more years, but they have an out after this year.
Okay, cool. Because like the plan for Detroit last year was Jared Goff 1 year, probably be picking quite high in the draft the next year, which it's happened that they're not picking too high. So they've kind of played themselves out of that. But Jared Goff did a really good job. Like realistic, like an average job. He in PFF grading and in
he was above
QBR
average
and stuff like that. In PFF grading, he was a bit low, but like in actual performance and for that team, like the way that they play football, Jared Goff was fine. Like nothing too complex.
Look how many points he put up. That's my argument. Exactly. Their PFF grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But like, I always think when they're coming from with that kind of thing is if you took another quarterback, it'd be even more points. Because there were a few games where teams managed to take away the run, and then that was it. No, like the Lions didn't put up any points whatsoever. Like, imagine if Lamar Jackson becomes a Lion.
Well, yeah, and I see on these Viking groups, I know everybody blames Cousins, but I'm always like, and I don't get into the arguments, but in my head, I'm like, do people realize if that Vikings defense would have made one stop on those scoring drives, then the Vikings win that game?
Yeah, that's the Vikings just got in a really weird rut in their defense. Like their defense just was in a really weird rut. I think it was just where it ended up.
I think switching to the 3-4 was a mistake without having the right players in place.
Yeah. Yep.
I will, though.
What teams have worked with the 3-4?
Huh? What'd you say?
What teams have worked with the 3-4? Like, I haven't seen many teams
Giants,
that have
Patriots.
The personnel to.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Patriots. Shit.
Giants
They're like one of the best
Giants
defenses
won with
of all time.
LT in the 3-4. I mean, it depends how far back you want to go, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's if you've got LT. Like, you know, like to run the 3-4, you've got to have the personnel, don't you, to run that 3-4.
You got to have
the 4-3 is a safer bet. Yeah.
You have to have
the Cowboys.
I didn't like that your linemen end up, which are technically linebackers, but they're DNs and they end up in coverage, which is like I could go on for days about that.
Yeah, it's like the Cowboys could technically run a 3-4 now with the personnel that they've got, but it just like 4-3 has worked more often for more teams than a 3-4.
And for the Cowboys, you'd still need a bigger nose tackle, so you'd have to figure that out in the 3-4 because you don't have enough size at the
Yeah, to keep it in the middle. So it's just like not a lot of teams have that unique build-up of personnel to make that work, or have Bill Belichick or LT.
Yeah, and I just like I said, I'm not going to beat the drum. I just don't like how it puts some of the players in bad positions. But I will say, before we move on, I would be really happy to see Jalen Ramsey on one side, Patrick Peterson on the other side, and our young guys get to develop. Because Evans looked good before the concussions. Booth looked good before the knee injury. Dantzler was coming on, and then he got hurt 3 times this year. You know, so like they have young pieces in that secondary. They have enough safeties where they could actually let Harrison Smith go as much as I love that dude. But with Bynum and Martellus and Scene coming back, which we didn't get to see him in his rookie year, you know, like, so I'm not worried about their secondary if they can add one more veteran. And then you need pass rush.
Yeah, plus if you add one more veteran, that's Jalen Ramsey, who's arguably still one of the best corners in the league, then that's
third according
that's
to
something else as well.
Well, he's third according to PFF,
Yeah.
and I also have the argument is he took the third most snaps as a corner too because their offense couldn't get first downs.
Yeah, he was exactly, like he was out there a lot. It's not like he was getting helped, and he was on an island a lot of the time as well.
Yeah, it just depends if he's willing to restructure. I know they're not going to take less money, but if you're willing to restructure so it helps the cap, and then what are the Rams realistic? Like you gave up 2 firsts, you're not getting that for him. So is it about clearing cap space or are you trying to get big picks? We'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but let's go into that coaching carousel. Let's start with the Panthers because there's going to be a lawsuit coming out of this hiring, and it all stems from Frank Reich's daughter in December talking about how she got a job with the team and then them hiring Frank Reich. So it seems like a conspiracy. I don't know what's going on, but Wilkes has a good argument that like he didn't get a fair shake. And with the Brian Flores lawsuit, at what point do all these lawsuits just become one big class action lawsuit against the NFL?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure whether this one falls into the same category as the Brian Flores one. Like with
but it
Frank
violates
Reich,
the Rooney Rule if you decided you were going to hire Frank Reich before the interview started.
Yeah, but people go in with the coach that they want, and they do the interviews anyway. Like I know. There's always the candidate that you want, and it's not the same as in other careers. Like you've seen the body of work that these guys have. You kind of know the people that these guys are if they've been coaches for a long time. Frank Reich seems like a decent fit in Carolina. Like it's not like the sacking of Brian Flores that just came out of nowhere. Like Brian Flores had done a great job, and the Dolphins have kind of got lucky with the fact that the coaching situation there now looks even better than when Brian Flores was there.
And then Lovie Smith with the Texans, and Wilkes is actually one of the front runners for the Vikings D coordinator job also. But
it's with Frank Reich as well. He was the Panthers' first ever quarterback in 1995. Right. So there's all of that. There's all of that.
I hope that I know they're not looking for money. So I hope this lawsuit really pushes the NFL to start doing the right thing.
Yeah, I agree. I just with this one instance, I don't think
right, but they're going to pile it.
But there's other incidents.
It's all going to get piled into one class action lawsuit at some point. And what they're going to do is they're going to bombard the NFL with so many charges that even if you can beat one, you're still guilty of 7.
Yeah. And the Deshaun Watson method. I just think that with with the Brian Flores one, it was kind of more egregious, right? The Brian Flores one was like Brian Flores did a great job and you sacked him because of not wanting to lose games, and you sacked him because of personal shit and whatever. But the issue is with that is Miami now look even better than when they were with Brian Flores. But that's by the by. That's more down to Tyreek Hill than coaching.
Their defense looks a lot worse too, right? So and then with the Lovie Smith, I think the Texans can just argue like we've been a fucking dysfunctional franchise for 6 years. Just look, we just fired another coach the year before Lovie after 1 year. So I think they could just argue dysfunctionality across the board.
Yeah, Lovie Smith did the worst job he could possibly do because they were awful all year and still didn't have the number 1 draft pick.
And now he couldn't have done articles that they're trying to trade up that 1 spot already.
Yeah, just to make sure that they get it, right? Just to make sure they get their
because
guy.
The Colts want it too.
Yeah, and the Panthers will be aggressive for it as well. Like imagine the haul the Bears will be able to get from the Panthers moving up from 16. I think the Panthers are at.
I really, truly, and I hope they don't because I want them to be garbage forever. I really, truly think they should trade Justin Fields and draft their quarterback.
All right. I'm not sure. Like at least with Fields,
you're going to be Jeff
with Fields,
Fisher.
You've got something.
He is the Jeff Fisher of coaching. You will be greatly mediocre for 10 years. You will be 9-8 for 10 years.
Yeah. 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 It's nice. You've moved up in the Justin Fields scale. He's now mediocre.
Well, no,
Like
that's after
before he
10
was.
years. Like, you got to learn something over 10 years. I think there's two problems, though, and it's not all on him. One, yes, his throwing is awful. Two, he has a defensive head coach. I think they fucked that up from the beginning.
Yeah, that was just wrong. But like, if they hopefully if they trade back, get all those picks, then they'll be able to kind of build something on the offensive side of the ball. At least get some receivers in there. At least get just something going.
The Panthers trade for Justin Fields. Get Frank Reich in there. Have him bring Greg Roman in to help him out. And
yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Good. That defense was pretty good. That could be something. I know they won't do it. The Bears are going to ride with Justin Fields. I have that feeling. Yeah. But
yeah,
if
Justin Fields puts bums in seats at least.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Justin Fields at least gets like bums in seats, like like he fills stadiums.
I'm just saying, if I can play Madden GM, and I can you could probably get the Panthers to give you 2 firsts and some other picks for Justin Fields.
Yeah. If you convince them to do that. Like, the Panthers will probably be a better situation for them anyway. Like, Justin Fields needs to go to a situation that'll suit him. Like, Justin Fields needs to get to a guy like a Lamar Jackson type of deal.
Send him to the Saints with all those weapons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just whoever you are, if you get Justin Fields, maybe just hire Greg Roman as well. Like, make
the
them
Bears
come as a
package. On the phone right now
with Greg Roman. Like, Greg Roman should already be their offensive coordinator.
Because I'm not trying to like be funny. I'm dead serious, but it's almost like you're running the Wildcat every play with Justin Fields because of his legs.
It's
so
a legitimate
he throws
tactic.
better than running backs. I am not saying that, you guys. He throws better than running backs, and when I compare him, I'm comparing him to the top 10 in the league, the top 10 quarterbacks in the whole world.
Yeah, he still has an incredible deep ball. He just can't throw anything short or intermediate. In a gap, if there's no, he can do it when they're open. just not when they're under pressure. Unfortunately, in the NFL, they're going to be under pressure a lot of the time, especially when your best wide receiver is Darren Mooney.
I see pretty much every mock draft has the Vikings either taking, why am I spacing, the kid from Florida as quarterback, or even trading back into the second round Richardson? And picking him. Yes. They have the Vikings taking him even with a trade back.
Yeah. The quarterback carousel is going to be weird. The quarterback draft this year sounds really weird, like where you've got Young as top, and then CJ Stroud, Will Levis. Is it Anthony Richardson? Yes,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you've got those guys you're going to see guys traded, like I think bigger name guys this year too, and not for huge picks, but to get out of their contracts.
Yeah, definitely. Like, trading Kirk Cousins trading Kirk Cousins right now, while the league is quite quarterback needy in certain spots, might not actually be the worst way to get out of his contract. That's not me fucking slating Kirk Cousins.
No, I get it.
But it's just, it might be the best way to get out of his contract.
If you could bring in a Brady or somebody, I'm good, but I don't want to start a rookie quarterback that we're going to have to draft at 24,
Yeah,
even
definitely.
Though,
and who's going to be left at 24?
Sure that's where Aaron Rodgers got drafted, I think, was 24th.
Yeah. Well, Brock Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant, and he's in an NFC Championship game. So
look, I'm a fan of Brock Purdy, and any Vikings fan who watches this. Kirk Cousins on the San Francisco 49ers are still in the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy on the Minnesota Vikings, we are fucking 3-14.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yes, he outplayed. Yes, he outplayed Dak in that game, but probably Dak's in the NFC Championship game as well if Dak Prescott is a 49er.
Yeah, because the 49ers are that fucking good.
Yeah. They're unbelievable.
You just need a quarterback to not screw it up and give you third down completions. That's all your quarterback in San Francisco has to do.
Kirk Cousins doing a great job.
Kirk Cousins had to come back 11 fucking times.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy's doing a great job as well. Like that's the thing. Like
Amazing.
he's doing a great job of the thing he needs to do. Like,
And I think
and
he's going to be a top quarterback someday, but he's a rookie. Like, and I keep seeing people go, well, if we'd have just drafted Brock Purdy and then we could have replaced Cousins, it's like, it doesn't work that way because you don't have the 49ers team.
Yeah, you also don't have the cap. Like, that Kirk Cousins contract is killer. Like, all of these guys in the Cowboys saying the Cowboys need to do this at quarterback, the Cowboys need to do this. Right. Dak Prescott has us in the game. Like, Dak Prescott, we're in the fight with Dak Prescott as our quarterback. Dak is like around that top 10 quarterback in the league, right? And his contract has fucked us. Like, we can't move off it. Like, you can't move off that contract. It makes it even worse than if he was there. So, like, you've just got to keep it. Like, you've got to keep him, and he keeps us in the fight. Like, it's not like he's like we're one drive away from the NFC Championship game right now.
Cousins is only making $30 million this next year.
Yeah, Cousins' cap actually isn't as bad as like I think just like Cousins, you just always imagine it's a terrible cap hit.
Well, the reason it'd be terrible is if you cut him, it would cost you $48 million.
Yeah.
But if you trade him, it costs you 11.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting where so I was listening to Colin Cowherd. Don't know why, but I was listening to Colin Cowherd and he was saying
guilty pleasure.
Yeah, he is. I actually quite like his show.
Clips.
Like he's entertaining.
I watch clips on YouTube, right? But I don't watch the whole show.
Yeah, no, me neither. I go in like the little clips. He's got like he's an entertaining dude. I don't do a lot from his takes unless he's got like one that I really believe in, right? But he was saying how the cap hit for quarterbacks is the biggest deal. Like that's the biggest thing about quarterbacks. Like if you've got he was basically saying if you've got a quarterback that's making loads and loads of money, you can't win the Super Bowl. And we're saying how Dak Prescott is the third biggest cap hit next year. So you won't be able to win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is the second biggest cap hit next year. Like, and what's that all about?
I've been hearing this ridiculous shit. 15%. No quarterback. You can't win with a quarterback making over 15% of the salary cap. So we have to cut Kirk Cousins because he makes 16%. No, literally. In the Vikings groups, he makes 16%. Like, are we really a 1% you think just throws that whole scale off balance? You don't think it's that we have a bunch of 30-plus-year-old guys making huge money?
Yeah. Yeah, you like for us, Dak just played shit this year. Like it's nothing to do for like the Cowboys we've got a good enough team. Our GMs are good enough at spotting talent in the draft and young players that Dak's big cap hit was not the problem this year. Our team was good enough to do it. It's just like Dak played shit. That was the problem, not his cap hit. Like it was very un-Dak how he played shit as well. Like apart from this season, like this is the first season where he's had loads and loads of picks.
And if you guys could have won that game, who knows what would have happened in Philly because it's a divisional game. It would have been a dogfight, that kind of thing. So
yeah, we put 40 points on them the last time we played them.
If he doesn't throw those 2 picks, that's it. That's all he had to do was not throw those 2 picks.
Yeah. If he doesn't throw those 2 picks, we're in the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1995.
If he doesn't throw that 1 pick and you guys kick the field goal even. I know with your kicker, but still, let's assume it goes in.
Yeah, but it was still 60. Like, it was still like the people are acting like that was a gimme kick anyway, even if he wasn't having even if he didn't have the yips. It was still like fucking 55 yards. Like, it was on the halfway line pretty much.
No, I agree. That's why I said let's just assume he makes it. Yeah. And then, you know what I mean? So one bad throw could have changed that, or taking away one bad throw could have changed that whole game. So what do you think is going to happen in Denver? Because there was reports that Sean Payton wasn't happy with one of the owners, but Peter King said he talked to him and that he's known Sean for years, and not one thing was mentioned about that. So he doesn't believe it because Sean was just praising the ownership group.
Yeah, but Colin Cowherd said that he had dinner with him and that he said there was a bit of a worry about the ownership group as well.
See, that's the thing.
Interesting.
Who do you trust, Peter King or Colin Cowherd?
Well,
You know,
obviously Peter King, but
but I don't
Colin
think
Cowherd
Cowherd
has done
lied.
like a
I think he's just ridiculous.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't know whether Denver's the right job for Sean Payton right now. Like, they don't have a lot of cap room to work with. They don't have a lot of draft picks to work with for him to build his own team. They don't have. They just don't have any wiggle room. Like, he's gonna go in there and have to coach his ass off to create what he wants. He won't be able to go pick up his own players. He won't be able to draft his own players for a little bit.
Well, yeah, he's got to eat that first this year if he takes the job. But they got receivers. They got Russell played well the last couple of games. If
Yeah.
anybody can get the best out of him, it's got to be
Yeah.
him. That defense should be like it played all right, but it should be better than what it was playing too.
Yeah, I've always been I've been a bit disappointed in the NFL media for how they're dealing with Russell Wilson's since the postseason. Because Russell Wilson with Nathaniel Hackett and without Nathaniel Hackett is not the same quarterback for Denver. Like, he's not the same. It's like he nearly beat the Chiefs and looked good doing it. Just want to put that out there. And then in their last game of the year, he looked really, really good as well. So I don't buy into that whole thing. Like, I still don't think that Russell Wilson is washed. And Sean Payton is used to working with a smaller quarterback as well. Like, Drew Brees wasn't like 6'3", you know, like people are saying, oh, Russell Wilson can't see over the middle. Right. Okay, fine. Well, Russell Wilson and Drew Brees are about the same height, but
I also
Russell can
want to
actually
point
move.
this out.
So that's good.
Your linemen are crouched down. If your lineman is standing straight up, he's on his ass anyway. So, like, I don't get where they don't take that into account too. You know what I mean? It's not like the linemen are standing straight up in front of him with their arms up in the air trying to block him from seeing. So there's that. And Nathaniel Hackett looked over his fucking head since day one.
Yeah, he looked awful since the first game. Like, that's the thing. Like, I was surprised it took so long. Like, there was no way that he was keeping his job after this season. Like, from about halfway through the season, there was no way he was keeping his job. So why not just blow it all up, see what Russell Wilson's got? Like, without him there. Because it wasn't necessarily coaching problems. It wasn't necessarily offensive coordinator and play calling problems. It was just actually managing a whole team. Like, those kind of problems. I'm going to talk Sean Payton out of every single job until he becomes a Dallas Cowboy.
Well, Nathaniel Hackett is now a Jets offensive coordinator, and I really think that's another. I think he got this job for the same exact reason he got the Denver head coaching job. Let's go get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I like him more in the offensive coordinator role for that reason than a head coach role. Also, Robert Saleh worked with him in Jacksonville where he made Blake Bortles look half decent. You know? So, yes, there's the Aaron Rodgers side of it. But also, I don't think it's the worst coaching move. Like, I don't think it's just entirely for that. Where Nathaniel Hackett fell apart is the whole head coaching overview, over the top stuff, which meant he couldn't get into the offense and start working on it and implementing things, and it just all looked wrong. Okay. But as an offensive coordinator, he's done great things in this league. He's worked with Robert Saleh in Jacksonville before. It should really work. The Jets just need a quarterback. The Jets are in desperate need of a quarterback, whether it's veteran, rookie. Like, they're not going to bring Zach Wilson back into the fold. Mike White, okay, looked half decent. Like, he looked pretty fucking good for some of the year, and then he broke both of his ribs. But they need a quarterback. And if Aaron Rodgers goes there, I'd be scared of the Jets.
Mike White's one of the guys I think that if the Vikings do keep Cousins, that's a backup they should probably try to go get. But if they bring it, but they got to, you're going to keep Cousins, you either have to extend him or you have to bring in another younger quarterback than that too. But I think the only reason that Nathaniel Hackett ended up in New York, though, I really truly believe this, is because there's all the rumors about that Aaron could be a Jet. And if they're all those rumors, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm not saying it necessarily happens, but my guess is there's conversations going on right now with the Jets and the Packers.
Yeah. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers in New York. That would be so funny to watch. Like, imagine all the shit he could get up to in New York. Like, that would be a lot of fun.
He would love it.
Yeah, definitely. Like he'd be the center of attention. He'd probably be able to handle that New York media life really well. Like, and also it's a good team. Like the offensive line is really good. They've got an amazing defense. Breece Hall is a home run running back as long as he comes back as long as he comes back from his injury healthy. They've got like Garrett Wilson looked so fucking good, by the way. Just putting that out there. Like Garrett Wilson had a really good, underrated rookie season. And Elijah Moore, I don't know what's happening there with the trade requests and all of that, but maybe with the new offensive coordinator, he might actually get some play time because he looked great in his rookie season as well. And then this season, it just went off the boil a little.
Yeah, and it's hard though. Like if your quarterback's bad, it affects you, right? So
yeah.
And Zach Wilson hasn't played near his potential at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of that had to do with immaturity, and he would just not buy into like he should have. So I think he's got to go change the scenery, and hopefully this opened that kid's eyes to like, I got to do this differently. Because Brett Favre was a problem his first year in Atlanta. So they traded him to Green Bay, and I think that popped his head out of his ass and goes, if I don't get it now, I'm out of the NFL. You know what I mean?
Also, there's a bit of a difference to like places like Atlanta and New York compared to Green Bay for a young kid like that, right? Like,
there's a whole lot less to do.
Include Zach Wilson in the like if you're trading for Aaron Rodgers or whatever, do they need to trade? Is he out of contract?
No, they'd have
to
trade
for Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Like you include Zach. You include Zach Wilson in that trade, right? And send him the other way. And I don't think that's the worst thing ever for Green Bay.
I do.
I don't think that's a bad
trying
fit
to
at
get
all.
Zach Wilson to Minnesota, so you stop that.
It makes sense. Like Zach Wilson,
do you do that to Jordan Love though?
And if that's who you're going to have to go with, you know, 100%. It's a business.
See, I don't put my quarterback in that bad of a. I don't put my.
He hasn't proved it. He just like Jordan Love hasn't proved any of it.
Yeah, but then you put him in a bad situation, and you're setting him up to fail by bringing in another big name guy behind him, breathing over his neck. Yeah. Because the second he throws a couple interceptions, all the fans are going, "Well, let's see what Zach Wilson can do."
Like Zach Wilson starting. If I'm trading him, if I'm Green Bay and I can get Zach Wilson for Aaron Rodgers and some first round picks and stuff like that, no matter how shit it looks, like, you know, like nobody is expecting anything from the Packers if Aaron Rodgers goes.
I don't know, man. Jordan Love looked pretty good in that game when he came in for Rodgers, and I know it was in mop-up, but then this front office who drafted him has to go, we were wrong. We were wrong drafting Jordan Love and not getting Rodgers some more help. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think they can do that. I don't think you can start anybody but Jordan Love.
I think that's fucking crazy. Like never come back. Like I totally get what you're meaning. And ego plays a big deal in GM's decisions and stuff like that. But you should never compound a mistake with a mistake. You know, like
if you make the mistake. If you say you screwed up and you try a different quarterback and it doesn't work, that's your job.
Yeah. I just think Jordan Love is an excellent backup. I think he might just be a decent backup quarterback. Hey, that's what I've looked at.
We can go back, but I wanted the Vikings to draft Jordan Love. So I did. Like I think Jordan Love's got real potential.
I like it's not that I dislike Jordan Love. It's just like, does the allure of Zach Wilson not just like giving Zach Wilson one more chance with that cannon of an arm and that,
but they're both first round
brings to the table, right? Yeah. 2nd overall in the draft where Trevor Lawrence was the 1st overall.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I think that Jordan Love had a ton of potential. His whole thing was that everybody's like, he's a project. He's a project. And that's why I wanted the Vikings to draft him to sit for 2 years. Now he sat for what, 3 behind Aaron? That's and if you see, this is the thing. This is why he has to start. You trade Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. They traded Brett Favre to the Jets. Aaron sat 3 years behind Favre. Love sits 3 years behind Aaron. Like, it's just, you have to do it.
Yeah, fair enough. When you put it like that, I mean, the stars are kind of aligned, aren't they? It's like, if I just have the opportunity to start Zach Wilson over Jordan Love, I'm going to do it just because of like the upside that Zach Wilson has. Just the upside that Zach Wilson has. But yeah, Nathaniel Hackett is an interesting hire, and I hope Aaron Rodgers does go to the Jets because I think that will be a lot of fun. Get Brady to go to Miami. that division will be a lot of fun all of a sudden.
Unless Tua retires, do you really move on from Tua? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. No. I would. The only thing you would do, not for Tom Brady, it would have to be a younger quarterback, right? Just in case, like, so if Tua's concussion issues continue, then you have somebody to go to. They would have to be a younger quarterback, like a Jordan Love, you know, like sitting in behind, wherever Kellen Mond is right now. Seeing Cleveland. What you can do with him.
He's in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson and them.
Is he? Yeah, in the baddies slot.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be in the league long. I think that Zimmer didn't like him, and Kevin O'Connell seen him for the training camp and was like, "Bye."
Yeah, clearly not the right guy. First time that Chris Sims seems to have got a draft pick wrong when it comes to quarterbacks for about
me and Chris Sims aren't
5
looking
years.
Me and Chris Sims are not looking too great on Zach Wilson right now.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. I'm looking well good on Justin Fields, even though he can't throw. Even though he can't throw the short and intermediate route. Who's the second best quarterback in that class? Who's right? Trevor Lawrence first, and then it's got to be between Mac Jones and Justin Fields, right? It's got to be between Mac Jones.
Davis Mills has more wins in 2 years than Davis Mills has more wins in 2 years than Justin Fields does.
Yeah,
that's how bad Justin Fields is.
So not just how bad the Bears are, but then he's going against the fucking Texans. It's not helpful.
The Texans are bad
helpful
too.
Stat,
yeah.
Really, is it? Yeah, that draft class was just weird. Just a fucking weird draft class.
Yeah, well, we
haven't even seen Trey Lance play, really.
We're gonna have another weird quarterback.
Yeah, this quarterback
this year.
Yeah, definitely. The last one was last year's was terrible. Sam Howell is the best quarterback from last year. Oh, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is the best quarterback from last year.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I was just saying terrible quarterback class, and there's a first rookie quarterback in the NFC Championship game.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Fucking
Mr. saw the Cowboys off.
Well, speaking of the Cowboys, anymore. What do you think about them calling for Kellen's job?
I think it's interesting. With Kellen Moore, since Jason Garrett's left and since Kellen Moore's been the offensive coordinator, we've been one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. We were like Dak Prescott has been in top 5 for yards and points per game in every season that Kellen Moore has been the offensive coordinator. He got saddled with bad defenses, but now he has a good defense. We went 12-5 is what we finished up. So we went 12-5. Oh, was it 13-4? Anyway, doesn't matter. We had a great record. We were a few points off going to the NFC Championship game. The only issue is, like, if Mike McCarthy stays, it might be time for Kellen Moore to go on and do something else. Just have a fresh voice in there at the offensive coordinator position and see what can happen. I truly think he's ready for a head coaching job. Like I think Kellen Moore would be a great head coach for a lot of teams. And I think he's a great offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't like having, basically, my issues with Mike McCarthy, not with Kellen Moore. And if Mike McCarthy leaves, then Kellen Moore has to go because whoever we bring in is going to want to bring in their own guys, right? If Mike McCarthy leaves, Sean Payton is coming to the Cowboys. That's the only reason you get rid of Mike McCarthy and blow up this coaching staff is if Sean Payton's coming, in which case, Kellen Moore, thanks for your service, man. Bye. I like what he does with the offense. It looks really good. How he finds open spaces for Tony Pollard and things like that. But I think it might just be time for a fresh face in the building. That doesn't mean I'm calling for his job. It doesn't mean that I want him to retain. Either way, I'm happy. The most important coaching retainment for the Cowboys was that Dan Quinn's going to be our defensive coordinator next year as well.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm missing some coaching change. I can't think of off the top of my head. I think we missed one, and it's irking me.
Nope, not got it. Is Sean McVay retiring? No.
No, and I think I think that the Cowboys should probably stick with him, but a change of scenery might be best too to help out Dak with a new coach and like a new system. But I don't know. I can't even see they're one piece away from a Super Bowl. I think they're a head coach away from a Super Bowl, and I think you're stuck with the one you got.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just with Dak Prescott not throwing shit away in the NFC to go to the NFC Championship game. Like I don't think that loss, it doesn't lie on anybody else. Like, yes, there are other opportunities to win it. Yes, if Tony Pollard doesn't go down injured, then there's probably a bigger chance of us winning that game. Our offense is immediately more open when Tony Pollard is on the field compared to Ezekiel Elliott. But the reason that we lost that game wasn't Mike McCarthy, wasn't Kellen Moore, wasn't Dan Quinn, it was Dak Prescott. What is strange is if we're not moving on from Mike McCarthy after we've just been very close to making it to the NFC Championship game, the Cowboys have got rid of 5 assistant coaches, which seems like a big change for no new coaching coming in, right?
Yeah, they were expiring contracts, right? They just didn't re-up them or something.
They didn't re-up them. Yeah, they didn't re-up any of them.
It's crazy. The whole coaching carousel is crazy.
Cliff Kingsbury. Who's taking the Cardinals' job? That's the one.
That's funny. Now, I don't know what the point spread is, and we'll check that tomorrow when we talk about it, but I got the exact opposite, Shug. I'll be cheering for the Niners. Don't get me wrong. I'll cheer for the Niners, but I literally got the Eagles and the Chiefs winning it.
This is the Dallas Cowboys' worst nightmare of an NFC Championship game matchup. The Niners and the Eagles.
Yeah, I'll be cheering for the 49ers, but I just have this weird suspicion that their offense is going to put up way more points than I think it's going to be a double-digit fucking win for the Eagles.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they just didn't look that good against the Cowboys, did they? And the Eagles are better than the Cowboys this year. They just are.
Good luck stopping that offense and Jalen. And like, I just think that they're going to have a chance to put up points. And the thing with the 49ers is I don't think Brock Purdy can win in a shootout at this point.
Yeah, 100%. But a mobile quarterback and one of the best offensive lines in the league, the best offensive line in the league, one of the best offensive lines this league has ever seen, is a good way to nullify the 49ers defensive line. And their linebackers. It's their linebackers you've got to worry about, really.
I really wish they would switch it to one Saturday game and one Sunday game, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, they're both straight after each other. A lot of offensive coordinators turn. Oh, but that's the one. Bill O'Brien is a New England Patriot again.
Good call.
Yeah,
That was
great
a good
call.
hire.
I said it at the start of the season. Why have you not got Bill O'Brien on the fucking phone? I look like a fucking genius. Thank you very much. But it was just like, why do you not have Bill O'Brien on the phone straight away? Like, Matt Patricia was your offensive coordinator. He can't even coordinate defense. He made Matt Stafford look like shit. Like, what's he going to do to Mac Jones? And then you've got Bill O'Brien, who's like, yes, really fucked up at the end with the Texans. But the Texans, for a bit, looked like an amazing team. Deshaun Watson looked like a top 5 quarterback because Bill O'Brien was there with D-Hop and that kind of thing as well.
He's a good coach. He's a shitty GM.
Yeah, 100%. It made no sense. That whole GM to head coach thing, that didn't make any sense to them. The Patriots have this weird ecosystem of coaches that they trust, and that's it. Like, these are the coaches that we trust. This is who we know can work within our system. Bill O'Brien will make Mac Jones better if Mac Jones is still a Patriot at the end of this after his bust up with Bill Belichick. But I think Kraft has probably said, hey, Bill, chill the fuck out. Like, Mac Jones is our guy. Like Bill Belichick had to say, yes, I'll be here next season. I wonder when the last time he had to say that was.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know. I think Bill Belichick is 1 or 2 more bad years away from being on the hot seat too.
He's on the hot seat now, but I just think like he's 100% on the hot seat now. Kraft bollocked him probably. Like, he's not going to go to a different team. Like, you can't build that culture again. Like, he'll just retire. Like, that's where Bill Belichick will either win this year or retire.
I've heard different things by people who know him that said if he leaves the Patriots, he'll just be a GM somewhere else, not a coach.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, I could see that.
But that's what he's the absolute worst at.
Yeah, evaluating player talent, right?
Yeah, he's not good. Like me and you always said, even if it works out, that you did it wrong in the process, like with the way he drafts.
Yeah, everything he does, right, it works out because he's an amazing coach of players. But the process is still wrong. Like, imagine if he was able to actually draft wide receivers. Like, the Patriots might be having Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl.
Yeah, now literally think about it. The best Patriot receivers ever were traded for.
Yeah, 100%.
Randy Moss,
you still got to
Wes
evaluate
Welker,
the talent to trade for them.
Like Wes Welker, Randy Moss, Edelman. Like, oh wait, I think they might have drafted
Who was
Edelman
picked behind Henry. Yeah, I thought they drafted Edelman, but Edelman. The fact that Edelman has a Super Bowl MVP is fucking insane. He deserves the Super Bowl MVP. It's still fucking insane though. But the weird thing about just about Patriots drafting in general was summed up in that Henry, when they picked Henry, who's now a Chicago Bear. What was that? They picked him first round. Who were the wide receivers that came in after that? It was like some fucking unbelievable, like AJ Brown or something like that. Like somebody absolutely fucking unbelievable. And they like skipped on him to get Henry, who can't separate, has no separation whatsoever.
Think about this. What if the Eagles would have drafted Justin Jefferson instead of Jalen Reagor?
I think they're doing okay now, though. They've got AJ Brown, and let's not like just go fucking crazy, Let's not just give the Eagles everything.
But just think about how different that team is if they just drafted Justin Jefferson instead of Jalen Reagor, who's now on the Vikings with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw this into I want to throw this into the world so it comes back. Alan Lazard, come on down. You'll look great in purple. You'll be a great number 2. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think like we've just got the Vikings. The Vikings wide receiver room is so weird. Like, it looks like it on paper, it's like really solid, like a really great one with JJ.
People are going to hate me, but I love Thielen. He's a hometown guy, and it's time to go.
Wow.
He's
Good
not worth
call.
16 million next year. He's not.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's not. He's a good number 3. Absolutely unbelievable number 3.
And
You're not
KJ
playing your number
outplayed
3
him.
wide receiver
KJ
60
Osborne
million.
outplayed him. You're right. That's why I said, like, I love Adam, and I'm not taking that kind of pay cut if I'm him either. So I get it. So deuces.
Yeah. And like that's the business of football, right? That's what you've just got to. That's what you've got to pick. If you guys just need to fix your defense though. Like I can't like.
And you
like coming
help
on
doing
shows
that
with that
by
like,
freeing up $14 million by letting Thielen
Yeah,
go.
get rid of Thielen. Yeah, get rid of Thielen. Like that's what you need to do. Draft wide receivers.
I don't think Cook is a Viking next year.
Oh wow, big call.
I don't.
We'll have him.
He carries a huge number on the next 2 years, but we can get out of it this year. We have two good young running backs up and coming. And if they really wanted, you could re-sign Alexander Madison for less than you got Dalvin Cook for. Dalvin Cook's always injured, and he had the most tackles behind the line of scrimmage for losses this year.
Yeah. Most tackles behind the line of scrimmage for losses is an offensive line issue, though.
Well, it's at points, but it's also a dancing the fuck around and not putting your head down and diving forward issue.
Yeah, not just sticking your head in and then just fucking
there
falling
is
over,
running
making
backs
sure you're going over the line.
Always fall forward.
Zeke.
That's yards. That's yards every time you fall forward. So, like, and I love Dalvin Cook too, but I think we're going to see a lot of the big names gone. But I don't think it's going to affect the team as much as people think. Like another name, not to make this a Viking show, but people are like, you cannot get rid of Danielle Hunter. Really? You can probably get a first-round draft pick for him. And the defense can't be any fucking worse. They were 31st. I mean, how much? You can only go down one. You can save 20
Danielle
million.
Hunter is not making life different. Yeah, Danielle Hunter at 20 million is not changing life in that Minnesota defense. And as much as I think the Minnesota defense is a coordinator issue, you do need some speed and just some youthful, decent players in there, you know? Like speed, you need speed on defense nowadays more than ever. Like the Cowboys defense is only good because it's quick as shit. Like that is just so fast. The 49ers are the same, just ridiculously fast to every single ball. The Eagles are more kind of like just freaky and massive, but are also a lot of pace on that team as well. And you can do a lot by freeing up 20 million in cap space and hopefully getting some draft picks. I'm not sure about a number 1, maybe a number 2, a 2 and a 3. I'd take a 2 and a 3.
He's 26 years old or 27 years old and the most sacks out of anybody up to. He had 50 sacks faster than anybody in NFL history to 25.
Yeah, it's just they have to take on that contract as well. Like that's the
pass
issue.
Rushers are getting 30 right now. It's just for the Vikings that's too much. You know what I mean? I could literally see somebody like the Jets wanting him.
Yeah,
now
like
they're
an experienced guy to go to that young team.
I get they have more of a higher.
That would have to be a second.
My argument then would be give me Zach Wilson and give me a third.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. What about Detroit? Like a Detroit, they would do it. You could get their first round pick.
I will fucking slap Kuwait.
They've got one in. They've got 2 first round picks. They've got a 31st.
Do you know how much better you make Aiden Hutchinson if you put Danielle Hunter on the other side? Fuck that.
I know. I know. That'd be so bad. That'd be such a bad trade to do. He'll do it. He'll do it anyway, but it'll be such a bad trade to do.
Jerry, call.
We don't have the cap space to sign anyone, I'm afraid. We're saving our money for Sean Payton.
Soon as you restructure those contracts, you'll have money to do what you need to do.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Like we've actually still got a decent amount of cap space before we restructure things.
If the Vikings cut Thielen, Cook, Hunter, Kendricks, and Harrison Smith, they would have the second most salary cap in the NFL.
Nice. Just behind the Bears, who have 143 million.
you can maneuver. Like, and that's not even resigning them. That's not restructuring. That's just cutting them. Like, and you know what I mean? So there's so much wiggle room.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be taking, what does Zeke earn? Like 15 million. We'll probably keep Zeke, but a real discount price. Like, so a lot of that will be coming off the board. That's at least one more player. Like one more mediocre player. I trust us in the draft. I always trust us in the draft.
That's what I'm saying. They can play salary cap games. Then the reason I use the Vikings is because if you look right now, they're 25 million over the cap for next year.
Yeah.
But they literally could, with 5 moves, be the second most cap space in the NFL. You know, like there's room to do shit.
Yeah, definitely. If you hire the right coaches as well. And yeah, there's plenty of coaches out there. There's plenty of coaches out there that are going to make a team even better, and they're going to come in and really boss it. I like the coaching moves that have happened so far. I like Frank Reich to the Panthers. I think that makes a lot of sense. I like Nathaniel Hackett to the Jets. I think it makes a lot of sense. Bill O'Brien to the Patriots could be like a game changer for Mac Jones. Cliff Kingsbury being sacked for the Arizona Cardinals. Like, it's not that Cliff Kingsbury was necessarily bad. It's just like that needed to happen.
I think Frank Reich was a bad hire, but that's just me.
All right, okay. I like the fit. I just like the fit.
I just watched that movie, and it was in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he's too nice of a guy to be a head coach. I think that might be exactly what it is.
All right, okay.
We'll see though.
I like the take.
Well, and the thing is they're going to draft a quarterback, so maybe that's why they brought him in, because he's done so much with so many quarterbacks in his coaching career. And like you said, he was their first ever.
Yeah, he was their first ever quarterback. That I just like, it just feels right. You know, there's something about this that feels right. Maybe he'll turn Sam Darnold into something unbelievable. I think they might be drafting a quarterback for Panthers.
I forget he even exists sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like the Panthers are probably going to be drafting a quarterback though this year, aren't they?
Yeah, or going after a veteran. There's a lot of guys though. Like, even if you draft one, are you going to start him? Or are you going to get like a Derek Carr to come in? You're going to get a Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of stuff that can be done.
It's weird how many are on the market. It's crazy how many are on the market right now, ready to go. Nothing falls into place until Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers decide what they're doing, and then after that, like, I'm sure after that, everybody just quickly jigsaw puzzles into place, like, straight away.
Yeah, well, that all starts March 7th, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Excited.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. We're hitting about an hour, so we'll get up out of here, but we'll see you tomorrow for the pregame show.
Yeah. See you guys tomorrow for an exciting day of championship game football on Sunday.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.